You don't choose how you love. You inherit it, like a scar etched deep into your flesh before you even understand the world. The way you reach for someone's hand, the way you trust or fear, it's all coded in the first rooms you lived in, long before the word love had meaning. Childhood is not a gentle nursery of innocence. It's a battlefield where the first lessons of affection are lessons in survival, lessons in silence, in hiding, in shaping yourself to fit the cracks in the ones who were supposed to protect you. Imagine a boy who never dared to cry out loud because tears meant weakness, and weakness meant danger. His father's anger was a storm that could shatter glass and silence laughter. His mother's quiet disappointment was a wound deeper than any shout. So he learned to disappear, not physically, but emotionally. He became a ghost, living inside a house full of people. He memorized the subtle shifts in tone, the signs of brewing conflict, the unspoken rules that kept chaos at bay. To him, love was never safe. It was a tightrope walk above an abyss of rejection. Years later, that boy became a man who struggled to speak his needs. He apologized for his existence, over-explained feelings no one asked for, and stayed loyal even when love turned cold. He found partners who mirrored the emotional danger he knew, volatile, distant, withholding, because pain had become the only familiar rhythm in his heart. His nervous system clung to the past like a lifeline, choosing the known suffering over the terrifying unknown of true connection. This is not just his story, it is yours. Maybe you were the girl who learned to be mature before your childhood ended, carrying the emotional burdens of parents who could not carry themselves. You became the silent caretaker, believing your value was in service, not in being seen or loved. Or maybe you grew up praised only when perfect, chasing validation like air, terrified of being exposed as not enough. Maybe your parents were loving but afraid of feelings, passing down their own fear as a silent legacy. Your nervous system learned your version of love before your mind could even understand the word. If love was tied to approval, you learned to perform it. If it was tied to fixing moods, you became the caretaker. If avoiding conflict kept you safe, you disappeared. If chaos was the only constant, you chased volatility. And if withholding was the only way to keep control, you became the pursuer, endlessly proving your worth to people who stayed just out of reach. These patterns feel like home because they are. They are the emotional landscapes you first inhabited. That's why you mistake anxiety for attraction, why healthy stability feels suffocating, why you sabotage the calm and chase the storm. You are not broken. You are repeating the only blueprint you were given. The harsh truth is this: you don't fall in love with people. You fall in love with patterns. The chase, the apology, the fix, the hiding, the proving, the pleasing, the silent suffering. These patterns chose you long before you could choose them. The world tells you to love yourself or just communicate, as if trauma answers to slogans. But you don't outthink your childhood. You outgrow it by unlearning the emotional rules that kept you alive back then. That begins with a brutal acknowledgement. Your childhood is still running your adult relationships, scripting your fears and desires like a shadow puppeteer. You cannot change what you do not face. This is the wound opening, the first step into the darkness that hides beneath your love. Stay close, because the next part will unravel the hidden mechanics behind your heart's prison, exposing the forces you must conquer to claim your freedom.
The truth is, most people think love is a feeling, a simple exchange between two souls. But love, the kind that shakes you, binds you, and sometimes breaks you, a complex battlefield of unspoken codes, emotional currencies, and survival instincts that reach back to the first moments you sought safety. You learned love as a child through the lens of your survival system. Your brain, still wiring itself, recorded every glance, every tone, every withheld touch, and turned them into unconscious maps for how to get what you need without getting hurt. These maps are not written in words.
They are written in the body, in your nervous system, in your gut. This is where social intuition meets shadow work. The way you pick up on micro-expressions, the way your chest tightens when someone's voice shifts, the way your skin crawls in certain company. All of this is the language of your early programming, speaking to you in signals your conscious mind barely understands. But here's the twist. Those signals aren't always truthful. They are distorted reflections shaped by trauma, fear, and a desperate desire to be seen. Your subconscious doesn't want freedom. It wants safety. And safety often means repeating what was, not risking what could be. Imagine an adult sitting across from someone they want to love, feeling the familiar pulse of anxiety spike the moment intimacy edges closer. That spike is the nervous system remembering old threats, abandonment, rejection, punishment. It reacts before reason can intervene. Your body chooses survival over connection, and that leads to the darkest pattern of all, emotional sabotage. You push away the very love you crave because it doesn't match the emotional script your childhood wrote for you. You test loyalty by creating crises. You withdraw when you want closeness. You cling when you need space. You speak loudly when silence would serve better. These are not mistakes. They are unconscious strategies, your mind's last-ditch efforts to keep you safe, even if that safety feels like prison. These patterns live in what psychologists call attachment styles: anxious, avoidant, disorganized. But attachment theory only scratches the surface. The real work is recognizing how your personal history twisted these styles into weapons you wield unknowingly in relationships. Take the anxious attachment. It's not just about fear of abandonment. It's the echo of a child who had to scream in silence, hoping for attention that rarely came. So as an adult, you chase, you plead, you apologize profusely, desperate to fill an emptiness that no one can see because it was never acknowledged. Or the avoidant type, the adult who keeps love at arm's length, because the child inside learned that closeness equals pain. For them, emotional distance is a fortress, protecting a fragile core that was once crushed by neglect or rejection. The disorganized attachment style is the most haunting. It's the child who was both scared and comforted by the very people who should have been safe havens. This creates a paradoxical longing, a push and pull so intense that adult relationships feel like walking through fire and ice at the same time. Understanding these patterns is not about blame. It's about ownership. It's about realizing that every emotional trigger, every compulsive reaction, every self-sabotaging move is rooted in a survival code that was once necessary, but now chains you to the past. And here's the most unsettling truth. Your shadow self, the part you deny, hide, or despise, is the keeper of these codes. It's the primal part of you that learned to manipulate, to anticipate rejection, to protect through emotional armor. Shadow work demands that you stop running from this part of yourself. Instead, you stare it down, embrace it, and learn its language. Because until you do, your love life will remain a battlefield where you fight wars you can't remember starting. This shadow doesn't make you evil, it makes you human. A next layer beneath this is the social power dynamics inherited from childhood. Love is never just about connection. It's a negotiation of power. Who holds it? Who surrenders it? Who hides to claim it? Children learn early about power from their family dynamics. If you grew up with a domineering parent, you may have learned to submit to control to keep peace. If you were the family's peacemaker, you might have mastered emotional manipulation to maintain your role. If you were neglected, you may have become invisible, the ultimate power play in a world that ignored you. In adult relationships, these dynamics replay. You unconsciously enact roles: the controller, the pleaser, the victim, the rescuer. These roles are not just behaviors, they are emotional currencies passed down through generations. High-value charisma, that magnetic pull some people have, isn't just natural charm. It's often the result of mastering these social dynamics. Understanding how to wield power without losing oneself, how to attract without desperation, how to communicate boundaries without fear. But true mastery, comes only when you recognize the dark origins of these behaviors in your early life and consciously choose to rewrite them. This is the path from unconscious repetition to conscious transformation. Imagine the boy who learned to disappear in the house full of storms, now choosing to show up fully, vulnerably, and unapologetically. Imagine the girl who was the silent caretaker, stepping into her own light and demanding emotional reciprocity. Imagine the adult who once chased validation, now embodying self-worth that isn't negotiable. Transformation begins with brutal honesty, facing the parts of your past that hurt, naming the patterns that trap you, and understanding the emotional architecture that underpins your relationships. It requires patience, courage, and a willingness to walk into the darkness without flinching. Because the deepest love you will ever experience is the love you give yourself after wrestling with your shadows. The next part will take you beyond awareness, into the practices, rituals, and mindset shifts that break the chains of your childhood programming and unlock the door to authentic connection and self-mastery. But for now, hold this truth: your past is not your prison, unless you choose to live in its cell. If you feel the weight of this, stay close. The journey into your shadow is the journey back to yourself, and only then can love become something more than survival. If this resonates with you, join the path. Subscribe, not because you want easy answers, but because you're ready to confront the real ones. The chains of your childhood run deep. They are forged in silence, fear, and survival, but they are not unbreakable. What you learned about love, its dangers, its limits, its demands, was never the whole truth. The real truth lives beyond your patterns, beyond your fears, beyond the echoes of that first wound. Transformation is not about erasing your past. It is about integrating it, embracing the darkness that shaped you, so it no longer controls you. You must learn to walk in the shadow without becoming it. This begins with self-mastery, the dark art of knowing yourself so intimately that your past loses its grip. It's the ability to feel your emotions without being ruled by them, to recognize your triggers as signals, not commands, to see your patterns for what they are, survival strategies, not destiny. The first step is awareness, brutal, uncompromising awareness. You must watch yourself in relationships, your reactions, your fears, your compulsions, as if you were an outside observer, without judgment, without excuses. This kind of seeing is a mirror held up to your soul, reflecting not just who you are, but who you were forced to become. Next comes choice. You are not your past, and you do not have to repeat it. When you catch yourself falling into old patterns, clinging, withdrawing, over-explaining, pause, breathe. Remember that you are the author of your story, not the victim of it. Choice means setting boundaries, firm, clear, unyielding boundaries that honor your worth. Boundaries that say, I will not be erased. I will not be silenced. I will not chase affection that costs my soul. And here is where masculine power comes alive, not in domination, but in self-possession. The man who masters himself commands respect, not through force, but through presence. He does not seek approval because he is rooted in his own value. But self-mastery is incomplete without shadow work. You must make peace with the parts of you have hidden, the anger, the fear, the shame, the grief. These shadows are not enemies. They are parts of your soul screaming to be heard. To deny them is to stay fractured, trapped in cycles of unconscious pain. Shadow work demands courage. It demands solitude. It demands that you sit with your darkest memories, your deepest wounds, and face them with unwavering eyes. Only then can you reclaim the power they stole. This reclamation ripples out into your relationships. When you love from a place of self-mastery and shadow integration, you stop chasing, you stop begging, you stop shrinking. You love with a fierce clarity, neither desperate nor indifferent, but profoundly real. You choose partners who reflect your growth, not your wounds. You communicate without fear. You hold space for others without losing yourself. This is high-value charisma, not the surface charm of social grace, but the deep magnetic pull of authenticity and strength forged in fire. But transformation also requires patience, the slow, steady dismantling of habits and the rebuilding of trust in yourself and others. There will be setbacks. Old wounds will bleed unexpectedly. Doubt will whisper lies. This is the dark path of growth. It is uncomfortable, lonely at times, and demanding beyond measure. Yet the reward is a love that does not bind you, but frees you. A love that is no longer a battlefield, but a sanctuary. A love that reflects the warrior you have become. Scarred, yes, but unbroken. So here is the final reckoning. Your childhood did not give you the tools to love well. It gave you survival codes to navigate danger. But you are no longer a child trapped in those rooms. You are a man standing at the edge of a new world. The world of conscious love, of self-mastery, of shadow embraced. This path is not for the faint of heart. It is a warrior's journey, a descent into darkness to reclaim your light. If you are ready to walk it, then take this moment to commit, to stop retreating, to rise. Because true love, the love worth fighting for, begins not in the arms of another, but in the mastery of your own soul. If this message hits the dark place inside you, then take the next step. Subscribe, not for easy answers, but because you're ready to face the questions no one else will ask. The path is shadowed, the journey is long, but the freedom you seek is waiting.